Hey everybody, can you hear me? Sounds like you can. I'm Chris Chant. I'm a Senior Technical Product Manager for APIs at ExactTarget at Salesforce Marketing Cloud. And I'm here to talk to you a little bit about our APIs. Before we begin, I just have to walk through our safe harbor slide. Long story short, we're a publicly traded company. Please make any buying decisions based only on the products commercially available from Salesforce.com. This is our little CYA statement, so please make sure you are not influenced by purchasing decisions by what you see in this presentation. Thank you. So what are we going to talk about today? Well, I'm going to do a brief overview of our Fuel APIs. We have a REST API, a SOAP API, and some SDKs. I'm going to walk very briefly through our Developer Edition, which is a free account that developers can sign up for to get started with the Marketing Cloud APIs. And finally, we're going to go ahead and build a simple journey using APIs, the UI, and our SDKs. Great. With that, we have, as I mentioned earlier, a SOAP and a REST API. Our SOAP API has been around since about 2007. It's the oldest and most comprehensive. It programmatically exposes the email application. It's predominantly built around the email application, and some of the newer channels do not have functionality through that SOAP API. You can see an example of how you might interact with SOAP on the right-hand side there in that little computer monitor. We also have a REST API, which we've had out since about 2012. It's newer and slightly less comprehensive, although we're constantly adding new functionality to it. It does offer multi-channel support, so it's not just email focused. You can see an example of some simple REST API calls on the right-hand side there. We also expose several SDKs. We offer native support for languages like Java, .NET, PHP, Python, Ruby. We've got a Node.js client coming out, actually I think it was just recently released. And these SDKs aim to simplify integration with the Marketing Cloud. Basically giving you faster time to market, lower cost. They bridge the SOAP and REST APIs. The goal of the SDKs is to really eliminate the cruft of interacting with multiple APIs where functionality might not exist. So you can see some example code on the right-hand side here. A very simple statement which would have originally looked something like this in Java prior to the SDKs. So that's basically our offerings right now. We encourage new developers to look at the SDKs first, going directly to the APIs only as a backup. So I also want to talk to you briefly about our Developer Edition. We recently launched Marketing Cloud Developer Edition. I think it was about 2 weeks ago. You can register at code.exacttarget.com. It's a free account. You have limited functionality. I think you can send 1,000 emails a month and maybe 1,000 mobile push messages, something like that. You can also download our SDKs at code.exacttarget.com. And if you have any questions or run any issues when you're trying to register for that developer account, please feel free to email me. I'm kchant@salesforce.com. All right, so let's go ahead and jump right into building a journey. So really quick, I'll be walking through a simplified example of what's available in the Journey Builder for Apps ebook. You can download a PDF at code.exacttarget.com/getting-started. I'll give you a minute to take a photo or write that down if you'd like to. And so what are we going to do today? Well, we are going to walk through an example scenario where Fitbit wants to drive installation of their mobile application for new users. So let's say you are a brand new Fitbit customer. You just bought a Fitbit device. You registered for an account on their portal. Now we want to go ahead and drive you towards a mobile installation. So I'm going to show you how you might do that with our APIs, SDKs, and Journey Builder. So how are we going to get there? First, we're going to go ahead and sign up for that developer account, as I mentioned earlier. Then we're going to set up our development environment. We are going to import our data. We're going to define a contact model. And finally, we're going to go ahead and build that journey. So in this example, we're going to go ahead and assume that you've already registered your developer account and jump right into creating an App Center application. So App Center is our application management console. Lets you register new applications that are going to speak to the platform via our API. There's a link there at that code.exacttarget.com website. The first thing you want to do is go ahead and create an application. You'll select API integration. And finally, you'll be granted a client ID and client secret. You'll need the ID and the secret to make API calls to the platform. After you've got that client ID and client secret, you're going to go ahead and plug that into your SDK. It's going to allow you to make those calls. Again, if you choose not to go the SDK route, you'll still need that ID and secret to manage your tokens when you're interacting with the platform. The SDK does a lot of that heavy lifting for you. So now I'm going to go ahead and just walk through a couple code examples. For those of you interested in following along, you can download the code on GitHub. It's github.com/supersharp/intro-to-fuel-2014. In these examples, I'm just going to be walking through the PHP SDK. I hope this is self-explanatory. If not, please feel to shout out questions as I'm going along. So as I mentioned earlier, we're going to go ahead and set up our data model. Again, the scenario is we are Fitbit. We want to welcome our new users to the platform and then encourage them to download our mobile application. So to do that, we're going to go ahead and create a data extension. A data extension can be thought of as a relational database table that is hosted on the ExactTarget platform. It's where you might put your product data or customer data or any other data that you need to track on your platform inside the ExactTarget platform. So in this case, we are going to create a new data extension. We're going to give it a name. We're going to give it a customer key. The customer key can be thought of just the primary key of this table. So when you're interacting with it, this is the ID you'll reference. A brief description, and some custom metadata. It's a little bit legacy. It's related to our email our email past, I should say. Is sendable, which basically just indicates that as part of this data extension, we are going to have an email address that is sendable. Again, when the user registers their Fitbit device, we collect their email address, and we're going to be communicating with them via that email address. Because it's a sendable data extension, we're going to specify that the sendable field is called customer email, and we are also going to say that the customer key, the subscriber field, the reference to that contact, is held in the subscriber key attribute. So this is just creating the container for the data extension. Now we're going to go ahead and define some columns of that table. So here we are defining 3 columns. This is just a simplified example. You can imagine that this might be a little bit bigger for your custom data. But in this example, we are going to store a customer email address. It's going to be stored as our primary key. We're going to define a full name, just a text field to contain the user's name, or the customer's name. And finally, we're going to store a new Boolean called has app installed. And this is the flag that we're going to monitor to determine whether or not a customer has installed the mobile application. So after we've defined our data model, we're going to go ahead and populate it. In this case, we are simply firing up, this is a simple example, we're firing up one customer record. So you can see we specify that customer email and the full name. But you might imagine a more complicated example where you're bulk moving all your data from your database to the data extension on the Marketing Cloud platform. So next, we're going to create a few emails. This is like the welcome email to the Fitbit platform, as well as a reminder email to come check out the mobile application to drive the customer to install that app. In this case, we're just going to go ahead and create an email object, and we're going to specify a few properties. The customer key, which again, a customer key in the Marketing Cloud parlance is like a primary key that you can keep track of on your side, just how you reference these objects that you're building. The name of the email, a subject line, an HTML body, so just the HTML that's contained in the email, the type of email, which in this case is HTML, and a special Boolean field, which is called isHTMLPaste. That simply specifies that we are pasting in HTML in that HTML body, and we want that to be delivered. In the example I'll be walking through, we actually use 2 emails. I'm only showing you this code once. It's pretty straightforward. We're building an email that we're going to send to our customers. All right, with that, I'm just going to jump out of PowerPoint and go straight into the presentation. If this Wi-Fi flakes out, I apologize, but I think we're good. So where are we so far? Again, the journey here is we want to welcome new users to the Fitbit platform. We want to send a welcome email to them to say, hey, welcome to the platform, and then also remind them to go ahead and install the mobile application. So to do that, we're going to go ahead and take that data extension that we built earlier and map it to our contact model. The contact model is the Marketing Cloud's way to keep track of an individual across multiple channels. In this case, we know there's a person, and we know that we have custom data stored about them in our data extension, and we're going to go ahead and link those 2 now. So the first thing I'm going to do is create an attribute group. We'll call that Dreamforce customer data. To get to the screen, you would log into the Marketing Cloud, and you would go to Data and Analytics, and then Contact Builder. You can to get a Marketing Cloud account, again, go to code.exacttarget.com and register for a developer account, and you could follow along with this now if time permitting. So again, we are linking our customer data model to our data extension. Since I've already created that via the SDK, I'm just going to go ahead and click Link Data Extension. Can you guys see this, or would it help if I magnify the screen a little bit? Magnify? OK. All righty, great. So we are linking our contact model to the data extension we created earlier. In this case, I called it Dreamforce Customers. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to link the contact key with the email address. And we're just saying, reference this contact by their email address. It's going to be a one-to-one relationship, and it's going to be a root data extension. If you have any questions about what a root data extension is, please go ahead and feel free to see me after the presentation. We're going to go ahead and save this link. And now we have linked our contact record with our custom data. Next, we are going to go to Context Configuration and basically just specify that we have an email address in that data extension. So we've gone into this Context Configuration field. We're going to Channel Address Order, and we're simply going to edit this email channel and add the email address field that we had in our data extension to the email channel to let our platform know that you can send email to this data extension. So we click Add Address. We go to our data extension, and we select email address. We'll save it. And that's it. So we've now linked our custom data to the contact model on the Marketing Cloud platform. And now we're going to go ahead and build a journey around reaching out to those customers who have recently purchased their Fitbits and sending them a drip campaign to remind them to come install their mobile application. So I'm going to hop over to Journey Builder under Marketing Automation. So within Journey Builder, there's these notions of events, interactions, and sorry, the last one is escaping me. Activities, pardon me. So we're going to go ahead and create a new interaction. That interaction is going to represent reaching out to those new customers and reminding them to download and install our mobile application. So an interaction looks like this. This is called the Journey Builder Canvas, and it's a series of activities that represent the customer's journey with our custom interaction. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to select a trigger. A trigger is something that it's like a filter that gets evaluated for a certain condition and tells us whether or not we're going to take a customer and carry them through our journey. So in this case, I'm going to create a new trigger. And we're going to call it has downloaded mobile application. I'm going to link it to our customer data. And I'm going to set up a few conditions to determine whether or not a customer should begin this journey. So as I mentioned earlier, the journey here is we want new customers who are registered for Fitbit to be reminded to install a mobile application. So you might remember that Boolean flag that we created earlier, has app installed. Well, the condition I'm interested in is if the has app installed Boolean is set to false, or if the has app installed Boolean isn't set at all. So in this case, you can see the interaction only begins if has app installed is false or has app installed has no value. We're just going to go ahead and preview our changes here. Yes, this looks good. And we are going to save this trigger. So what do we want to do? What happens in this interaction? Well, again, when a new customer registers their Fitbit and provides their email address, we're going to send them a welcome email. And then after a few days, in that welcome email, we might remind them, hey, we have a mobile application, you should check it out. But if they don't install it within a few days, let's go ahead and send them another email reminding them, hey, we have this mobile application, you should really check it out. So we're going to go ahead and drag this email activity to our canvas. And what we're going to do, so you can see here, this happens immediately. So when an event is triggered, and a customer is sent down this journey, we are immediately going to go ahead and send them an email. In this case, I'm going to send them the first email we created, so a welcome to the platform kind of email. You can see a quick preview of this email. Nothing great here. So now the customer is getting an email as soon as they register with the platform. We're saying, hey, welcome to Fitbit. Check out our mobile application. Well, what do we do if they haven't installed that mobile application after, let's say, three days? Oops. We want to go ahead and decide. We want to potentially hit them up with a new email and remind them, check out the application. So I'm going to go ahead and drag a decision split activity to this canvas. What we're saying here is, after we sent that, 3 days after we sent that welcome email, we're going to go ahead and check a condition. The condition we're going to check goes back to that Boolean we created earlier, has app installed. In this case, we're defining a decision about the yes branch of this decision split, and I'll show you what that means in just a second here. But long story short, we are going to build, this is basically like an if-then conditional statement in this journey, and this is the if true. And we're saying if has app installed is true, we're going to perform some action. In this case, there is no action. We're only interested if they have not installed the application. So we click done. And again, this is our decision split, the kind of if-then. And we just defined the if true statement, which is this guy up here. I think normally you'd see some helper text here, but I think because I'm zoomed in, it's maybe not showing up right now. So this is the true statement, and this is the false statement. So if the has app installed Boolean is not set to true, we're going to take the action outlined down here. In this case, we're going to go ahead and send them a new email. We're going to choose the email. In this case, this will be the check out our mobile application email. And that's it. This is a very basic journey encouraging new users of the platform to download their mobile application. So I'm going to show you a little bit of code about how you might trigger a journey like this.
What happens if the value is undefined? That was one of your conditions.
It would also so this yes branch only executes explicitly if the value is set to true. So all other conditions will happen under the second branch. So really quick, so how would I trigger that via the API? I have a couple curl commands. So you can invoke an event via the API, and I'm going to show you how to do that. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to grab an authorization token. I'm just doing this via curl to be language agnostic. Oh, I'm sorry. I take it back, guys. I have one more thing I need to show you. So first I'm going to save this interaction. We're going to go ahead and call this download the mobile app. I'm going to go ahead and save this interaction and then activate it. And basically what I'm doing here is just turning on this interaction. It is now live, running in production, and people can be channeled into it. And the next thing I need to do is find the identifier that represents this interaction. And I'm going to need that before I can make my API call. So we've activated our journey. It's called download the mobile app. And I'm going to look at my interactions here, and I'm going to find the identifier that represents download the mobile app. So to do that, I go to trigger administration. We see download the mobile app somewhere in here. Should be the one today here. Has downloaded the mobile app. And I'm going to grab this event definition key. This is just the identifier representing that interaction we just built. And I'm going to use that as part of my API call to trigger a journey. So that goes here in our event definition key. Great. So as I was mentioning earlier, we need to get an access token before we can make our API call. This is something that the SDK takes care of for you. I just wanted to show you a brief curl-based example in case you wanted to go straight to the API. So we have our access token, which I'm going to plug into our curl call. And again, the authorization action simply requires your client ID and client secret that we mentioned earlier. Yes, these are live. Please don't go hack me while I'm in my presentation. I'm going to delete this immediately after the presentation. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to execute a command, an API call to trigger the event, to let us know an event has occurred that the interaction we just built is interested in. So what do we need to pass up? Well, obviously we need to tell them we're sending JSON. We give them an authorization token. But we're going to tell the platform which contact we are interested in, or excuse me, which contact this interaction is for. In this case, it's just a fake email address I have here. I'm going to pass that event definition key. Yes? Yes, there are Salesforce-based activities, and actually, if you'd like to see them, if you head over to the Dev Zone after this presentation, I'll be working at our Dev Zone, and I can show you some of those custom activities that are Salesforce-based. Yes. Any other questions? So the event definition key again is the trigger the identifier of the trigger we just built, and we're passing a data payload. In this case, it's the email address again. This is the contact to evaluate the expression for. So again, it's that same email address as above. And here's the URL we're firing off to. Again, you can see detailed explanations of all this in the Journey Builder for Apps book. I'll show you the URL again in just a moment. So we're going to go ahead and execute this journey. And you can see the API call is successful, and we are returned with an event instance ID. This is a GUID representing acknowledgement that that event was triggered for that contact. So what have we done today? Well, we have registered an account. We set up a development environment. We imported some data. We defined our contact model, and we built a journey. I know that was a really rapid walkthrough. Again, you can read all about this presentation in the book Journey Builder for Apps. I'll give you the URL in just a second here. This is just a lightweight walkthrough of how you might use the API to achieve basically a very simple journey in your marketing campaigns. And that's about it. So again, here's some resources that we talked about today. We have some example code of the code I walked through earlier. You can download SDKs and look at API references at code.exacttarget.com. The Journey Builder for Apps book is available at code.exacttarget.com getting started. An App Center where we register our applications is available at appcenter.exacttarget.com/appcenter. And again, if you have any questions, please feel to reach out to me. Again, my name is Chris. I'm kchant@salesforce.com. I'd be happy to help you or point you in the right direction. That's all I've got for you. Can I answer any questions? Thanks. Yes? ExactTarget is now called the Salesforce Marketing Cloud and is available via Salesforce. I would say if you're interested in purchasing, you can talk to your account executive, and they should be able to help you out. Or just come see me after the talk, and I'm happy to connect you with the right people. Yes?
Here is one example of how to call ExactTarget API. Is that possible to report ExactTarget call the API?
The question is, if I understand correctly, is it possible to make ExactTarget call APIs of other systems? In the context of Journey Builder, yes. There's a thing called a custom activity. You can build a custom activity that on any platform of your choosing that will react to events that occur in Journey Builder. And from that custom activity, you could then talk to other APIs as well. I'm sorry? To my understanding, not directly through the ExactTarget platform. This would probably be some code you build internally. Now, there is the Hub Exchange where you can build custom applications on the platform with your own code. Again, it's still not ExactTarget making the external API call for you. It's your code running within ExactTarget's platform service, where you could then orchestrate API calls to other providers as well. I'm not sure if I totally understand the question. I'm happy to speak with you in greater detail after this talk. Yes?
What is the data reflected in ExactTarget when data is saved in Salesforce?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
Say, for example, you save some information in Salesforce in the contact object. How does that get reflected in ExactTarget? When does that get reflected?
In this example, we didn't walk through, I guess, the data transformation from Salesforce to ExactTarget. I'm actually not the best person to talk to about that. I'm happy to connect you with someone after the talk, though. Yes.
The journey builder, you have different swim lanes. Every swim lane represents a day. What if you want to engage with a customer less than a day, less than 24 hours? How would you do that?
We have several units of precision. I think we have days, hours, and even minutes. So you can choose that as you're building your journey, and you can also set parameters such as contact no later than X. So for example, if you know you wanted part of your interaction to occur at like 5 p.m., you can say, hypothetically your precision is in minutes. I choose my precision in minutes. And I say, perform this action no later than 5 p.m. On the calendar date.
Yeah, question.
Hi.
I was a little confused by your PHP example where you were setting up the data extension. Was that a once-off activity that was defining the data model inside ExactTarget, or is it something you have to do as basic setup for every API call?
Gotcha. Yes, that was a one-time data extension setup. Yeah, imagine creating a MySQL database table. It's a one-time thing, and in this case, that was a one-off. Yeah.
So I'm new to ExactTarget. Why would someone not just do that in the UI? I mean, is it common to dynamically define your data model?
I think it just varies on the customer's use case and their comfort level in writing custom code. You absolutely could do that via the UI as well.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome. Yes. If I understand the question correctly, the question is, can you send emails or text messages to any contact, irrespective of? I believe the answer is yes. Yeah, you should be able to send to any email address, any mobile number. I think we look to our customers to make sure that they're not abusing that system. But yes, you should be able to contact any email address or any mobile number.
Just wanted to know, how is the carrier service for sending text messages?
I believe you simply pay. You'd be paying ExactTarget to deliver that message. We worry about the carrier fees and things like that. I believe.
That's why I was asking, is that possibly in the developer app?
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, I think you get 1,000 messages, so you get 1,000 free. We eat that cost for you.
Quick question. I noticed that you were using one data extension for your journey. How would you use multiple ones, or possibly use tracking extensions? If they opened this email and didn't open this email, and things like that to build a journey.
Yeah, you should be able to build interactions that interact with multiple data extensions. The one I walked through was very simple. And again, happy to walk through a more complicated example with you in the dev zone here. I think my shift starts in about 20 minutes.
Is there any report UA or anything to view for whom and how it has sent the emails?
A UI to view what now?
UA to view the reports of whom it has sent the email and
Yes. I didn't do it because it's such a simple example. Actually, in the journey on the canvas that we saw earlier, you will actually see the number of people who started a journey, and you'll see with relation to email anyway, you'll see information about open rates, sends, things like that. Yes.
When do you guys come out with the rest of that?
They are released with every release that we come out. We have 8 releases per year. We're constantly adding new REST APIs. Happy to talk with you more about specific roadmap items after this talk if you're interested.
And what's the best way to request features?
I would say email me, kchant@salesforce.com.
Dangerous thing to say.
I like to live dangerously. But no, so my role is really kind of facilitating that communication to the various engineering teams who would be responsible for those services. But I can definitely help kind of promote that cause. Developer advocates at ExactTarget.com as well. They'd be a great resource to reach out to. Not only can they kind of help provide support, and if you want to build custom integrations, but just letting them know what's missing from the API, it helps us kind of advocate for you guys on the platform.
And are you primarily extending the REST APIs, or are you also developing for the specific APIs?
Predominantly, we're spending our time on the REST APIs. The SOAP APIs are still maintained, but I would say most of the new functionality is currently going in REST first. We're always evaluating that. We have several customers who are very interested in the SOAP APIs, but right now most of the new functionality goes in REST.
And just a quick question, is there a limit for the REST APIs and daily calls?
There is. I don't know off the top of my head, and it's flexible as well. I want to say, actually, come see me afterwards, and I'll get you specific information. Cool. Unless there's any other questions, thank you very much for your time. And if anybody has further questions, I'll be here for a few more minutes or in the dev zone from 4 to 6.